Okay, great. Guys, let's start. So, hi everyone. Thank you all for joining us today. I'm Shani from the search team here at Taboola, and I'm thrilled to have you guys on this second webinar in our Meet the Expert series, all dedicated for search. So, in our previous webinar, we've discussed bidding strategies, and following this, we'll talk about the other side of the metrics at Taboola that has an effect on your serving and competitiveness. So, this is just a sweet reminder to the Taboola calculation that powers our algorithm. CPC is only half of it, combined with VCTR, essentially how clickable your ads are, in order to give you a VCPM. The higher the VCPM, the more competitive your ads are. This is very important to bear in mind. Your ads are just as important as your bids. And this is why we are here today. So today I have with me Eliane Limon, who is going to review creative best practices, trends, and success stories. And since you're all here with us, we also have a bonus section, and we'll cover our AI tool. So as I mentioned, just a little bit about who we are. I'm part of the search ads team based in Israel. The search team was established around 2.5 years ago in order for us to be experts in the search industry and offer unique solutions to our clients. And we manage the top search clients over the network of Taboola. I personally manage the EMEA book of business. And now I would like to pass the mic to Eliane, who will introduce herself and dive into creative angles and how to market your search ads the best way possible. Take it away, Eliane.
Thank you, Shani. So hi, everyone. My name is Eliane Limon. I'm part of the Creative Shop team. I am based in London. I'll tell you a bit more about my team because it's quite unique to Taboola. So basically, the Creative Shop team is a global in-house agency with different, very different roles. For instance, first of all, we create assets for our advertisers. This can mean that we help writing headlines, we create images, we create videos, landing page recommendations. A second responsibility of our team is to really deep dive focus on data. So we know everything that's happening in our network. We look at our competitors, we look at the organic content. And with that, we create very helpful assets for our advertisers. For instance, whether it's vertical playbooks, whether it's quarterly trends. So we're really constantly looking at new ways to give you that data to help you perform better. And on top of that, we can also help our clients by educating them, for instance, by conducting workshops. So for instance, if you're specifically interested in knowing how to create a pre-click ad or how to write content, these are all tailor-made services that we provide. At the end of the day, our team includes designers, copywriters, creative strategists, data analysts. So really, with all that variety of different roles in our team, we manage to help our top advertisers succeed. And in order to really start the session today, I want to start by a quote which really helps you understand the mindset of Taboola. This quote is that nobody reads advertising, people read what interests them, and sometimes it's an ad. So when you really think what interests people on Taboola, it's probably going to be something resembling the organic content that brought them there in the first place, that brought them to that publisher. So think about it. Last time you ever clicked on an article, or when you continue reading on the feed, you must have likely clicked on it because it resembled something that you were reading before, something that you're interested in. And normally we're not very interested in advertising. So keep that in mind. When designing your Taboola campaign, you should think about making it resemble in the most organic content rather than something that resembles an ad. So that's an intro to the mindset. And for today's agenda, we're first going to start by looking at image trends, second of all at headline trends, then at vertical trends. Then our little bonus section is how we can use AI. And finally, a Q&A. So to start off by the image trends, let's look at which image trends are working now for search advertisers and understand how they can relate to that mindset that we spoke about, the organic mindset. So the first trend that we're seeing on our network is that most of our top content in the past period of time are including of hands holding a product or hands really pointing towards a product. So from our research in the past years on Taboola, we see that faces work well. But what's more interesting is that recently the addition of hands, and specifically for search advertisers, work really well. So actually looking deep into the data and search advertisers, over 35% of the top content include those hands pointing at something. So you can see, for instance, in the example above, this woman who's holding an iPhone and tingling her nails, this draw attention, or the man's pointing at his head is something that works really, really well. So think about how you can integrate those hands to point at something. This is our one of our strongest trends at the moment. A second trend on Taboola, which is really strong right now, is showcasing change. So as you know, many of our advertisers try to sell products or services that are going to reform something, whether it's a health condition, whether it's a tangible item, whether it's a garage, you name it. These are all products that come here to showcase a change or a solution. So how can you do that visually? Well, there's many ways that you can show that, which are working really well. So one, for instance, is creating a time lapse. So what we recommend doing is, for instance, taking a video of a certain change. So if you're speaking about maybe a home renovation, so the house before and the house after, and just fast forwarding it. So this is a way to show before and after without actually saying the words before and after, which are mostly not allowed on our platform. A second way is to use a carousel, so movement. Another way that you can do it is a split screen. So you can see the example here at the bottom. You can see a clean image and a messy one. And again, without saying the words before and after, you can show that this is what your product is going to do for them. And a final one, which is very interesting, is a blur effect. So when you focus and unfocus something in a video, you create that feeling that something is changing. So I can tell you that a few weeks ago, we were working with an advertiser that did a hearing aid, and we showed a picture of a senior, which was in focus, and then it blurred and then focused again. And with that, we managed to really depict the feeling of something that does not work and something that the change that was achieved through using that hearing device. So we really recommend choosing one of those 4 techniques to showcase change. Now, a third trend is the human point of view. So what's interesting here is that it may seem to you like something minor or something unnoticeable, but specifically in search, this works extremely well. And the point here is to take a picture from a human point of view, from the exact height a person would be looking at that angle. So what do you mean by this? Look at this image at the top. You see a bathtub, right? You can imagine a person standing there and taking that picture from their phone, right? It's not an aerial view. It's not from too far away, but it's exactly the same distance that somebody standing in that bathroom would take the picture. Same for that garden shed, right? It looks from a human height. It looks from a human distance. And again, you may be asking, why is this so important? Why is this so impactful? And the reason for that is that it's authentic. So think about the sentence I said in the beginning: no one reads advertising. When you look at a magazine, for instance, a home decor magazine, you're going to see very professional pictures taken from very professional angles. But here it looks like someone authentic took it. Someone that's maybe not trying to sell you something, but rather someone that's recommending the best shades available or their best top rating walking tub. So really think about these points when you're choosing what image to use. Now, a fourth trend is taken by surprise. So when I speak about this trend, the surprise is actually showing people, human beings, which are surprised to see a certain result or to find out about a certain prize. And what's interesting here is that you're showing surprise by the visual. So you may, reasons that people, a brand can be heard, for instance, by doing these clickbaity ads on Taboola saying, you'll be shocked by these prices or things like this. So we want to help our advertisers refrain for using that type of terminology that's not very, doesn't go very well with the brand, but a way to actually use that effect of saying surprise or you know, using those types of effect is by showing it in the visual. So you can see here, for instance, in the ad above, these two women that look just positively surprised, and see the headline says, see how people reacted to their home renovation, book here, instead of saying you're really be shocked by this home renovation, which doesn't sound very premium. And again, even in the picture at the bottom, you can see this guy, you know, looking very happy, pointing at something that he may be surprised by. So think about using these types of images. Now, in order to summarize, this is a table of tips that we've created in order to tell you or suggest to you where you can find these pictures or how you can create these images yourselves. So for the hands drawing attention, what we normally recommend doing is to zoom into your visuals to achieve the close-up of hands. So even if you have a picture of a human being, you can use a motion ad studio, or you can create a zoom in effect on those hands, which creates that mystery or creates that sense of attention drawn to somewhere. For the image trend number 2, which was to showcase change, we have the motion ad studio. At the end, if somebody wants me to explain a bit more about this motion ad studio, I can, but it's in general, it's a self-serve tool available in our Taboola ads, which you can upload the static image and create a motion ad out of it. So 10-15 second loop video where you can create carousels, zoom in, overlay effects. Tip number 3 is the human point of view. So for the human point of view, in order to find these type of images, we recommend to repurpose images from social media, visuals from testimonials. So think about the more user-generated type of content repurposed for Taboola. And one of my favorite tips for taken by surprise, what my team does here is actually focus on taking a video. And when you're taking a video, take a screenshot in an unexpected moment. So think about someone's talking and you stop the video there and it looks like, you know, in their mid-sentence, they'll look taken by surprise. So that's a really cool method to achieve this. Looks super authentic, doesn't look posed, and works really well on Taboola. Great. So moving on now to headline trends for search advertisers. So one of our top tip for headlines in search, one of our top trending headlines is to include a CTA within brackets in the end of the headline, a call to action button. So basically, you can see the examples are top searches for vitamins, take a look, in brackets, search results for fashionable trainers, see the list. So actually, 80% of the headlines, top performing headlines in search, include a call to action at the end of the headline. So you can see here is the list of some of those top call to action, see list, take a look, write this down, see prices. So if you're wondering why this works so well, the reason is that the whole ad is clickable, right? So from Taboola data, we know that that a setting is a call to action button. For instance, the custom ones at the bottom right, read more, shop now. The more classic ones, they work really well. They can boost conversion, click-through rates and conversion rates. And the reason is that they set expectations. But with those classic CTA buttons comes a certain limitation. You can't write things such as take a look or see the list. So when you actually write those in your own words, relatable to your product or to your action button, you're creating even larger set of user expectations. And because our whole ad is clickable, then people can click on that, you know, as if it were a CTA button, and it works really, really well. Now, the second headline tip is to write queries in the first person. So what top search advertisers are doing is taking their service or their product and creating a search query in the first person. For instance, where can I buy used iPhones in London? Where can I find a lawyer? How much does a hair transplant cost? So what's interesting about these, it's exactly the same organic way someone would write in the search engine. So therefore they work really well for search because we're already related, or we're already used to that sort of terminology when we're searching for a result, and it also sets our expectations for what will happen after. Now, tip number 3 is, again, similarly to the one that we just discussed, but here the difference is that the question or the query is in second person, and you as the advertiser are preparing the person that's reading it to answer the question themselves. In other words, by example, what this means is that you can use headlines such as, does your pet really need insurance? Discover here. Does teeth whitening work? Learn more here. So here, basically, you're asking a common question and positioning you as the person that's going to give them the answer. So preparing them to see search results. So this is what works really, really well in Taboola. And the final headline tactic is the professional tactic. So here you are just explaining or promising to give away an answer for a common question. For instance, here's how to buy an affordable iPhone near Manchester today. For instance, see what are the top availabilities for teeth whitening in your area. So here again, you're working on that specific pain point or that specific solution someone's trying to discover, and you're promising to give away the solution for them. So I know we went through a lot of tactics and they were similar, but this table will really help you understand how you can use or create headlines in those specific 4 tactics. So everyone who's listening here and would like to go after this webinar and start writing 4 top headlines for your product can immediately start by using this table. And what you need to do is, first of all, think about what your pain point is. For instance, if you're doing eye appointments. So for instance, in the first technique, which was titles with a CTA in brackets, taking that pain point, you can write a headline that says, find out where to book affordable eye doctor appointments nearby, see list. So what you did here was the CTA in brackets. The second technique was first person. So here you can write, where can I book affordable eyesight tests near me? Technique number 3 was the second person question and the invitation for solution. So for instance, can testing for eyesight early help minimize deterioration? Learn more here. And the final one was your promise to reveal answers immediately. So for instance, this is how you can get affordable eyesight test instantly. So take those 4 tips and really adapt them to your product and service, because these are following our current top practices in search. All right, guys. So what's for this chapter, really coming from looking at what you guys are doing and what's trending right now, we looked at our top verticals on Taboola and created vertical specific recommendations and insights based on our top performing advertisers. So the first vertical we're going to speak about is automotive. So in automotive, the titles that are performing best touch upon 3 subjects. 1, the sense of affordability. For instance, take a look at these prices. Take a look at these cars. They are cheaper than you think. So really touching upon the affordability aspect of the vehicle. The second tip is a sense of urgency. So using words such as car liquidation, clearance, selling fast, high selling. And the third title tips is adjectives. Use of adjectives to describe the product. So whether you're using the word best, killer, sleek, incredible, redesigned, gorgeous, try including those words in your headline. Now, in terms of visuals for vehicles, what's trending is used cars in parking lots, the interior of our cars, luxury cars, for sale signs. And in terms of colors, we're seeing that the top colors of vehicles are red, blue, and gold. So think about it. Normally, color works on Taboola. If you're doing a product such as cars, this is a way to go, a place to go crazy. Don't choose your gray or white or black car. Just go really as crazy as you think. It will catch the reader's attention, and it works phenomenal. Now, the second vertical is health. So in health, the titles that are working well have to do with awareness to symptoms. So think about it. Many times we're used to searching for symptoms. This is something that I personally do all the time. I'm a Google hypochondriac. So, we're constantly in the top of our minds trying to be aware of symptoms. So headlines that touch upon the first indicators of a certain condition, the first red flags, the symptoms people are aware of. These are headlines that perform well for health. Now, in terms of images, what works really well here, again, is the trend of pointing at something. So people, for instance, self-examining body parts, people using their hands to look at different, maybe they're rubbing their knee, maybe they're rubbing their back. So really the use of hands to self-examine is something that works really well. For health, you want to look professional. So you want to keep clean, use white background, use neutral colors. So really try to keep it, to make your ad really look professional. Again, really interesting as well. In health, green backgrounds work really well. Green actually is a color that's associated with peace of mind, with making people feel more calm. So interestingly, if you do a headline speak about symptoms, but maybe you're green, you can balance that off. And self-examination of body parts that we spoke about to check certain conditions is really important here as well. Now, what's working in personal finance? So in personal finance, the titles that are working really well are an invitation to take action. So just a small anecdote here. A few months ago, we published, the Creative Shop has published a finance vertical playbook. And we saw that one of our trends was taking actions and preparing for the future. So people were really interested about knowing how to manage their finances, how to help their kids in the future, how to save money. So really people in finance are more active. They're interested in taking action right now and being more organized and really preparing for future in the time of recession. So here, the top keywords in finance and headlines are view, research, search, learn about, see options, take a peek, see popular searches. So you can really see more actions in these headlines. And the images are really human-centered. So human holding bills, humans counting money, researching on laptop or holding documents. And an interesting thing that we've noticed as well is that most of the creatives, most of the visuals in finance are actually women rather than men. So this is something that may change. You can also look specifically in Taboola trends. We have a very interesting data on click-through rates by gender per week. So also an invitation for you guys to check out this amazing open tool on a weekly basis. Now, reaching the final vertical, we have home and garden. In home and gardens, the titles focus around novelty and revolution. So here we're speaking about modern designs, new generations, new models, upcoming trends, takeover. Interestingly, when we look at design magazines, it's all about that. So people want to know what's trending, what's cool, what's quirky. So same here in Taboola. And the images, as we spoke before, are mostly taken from human point of view, include satisfied customers, work in progress, or futuristic and quirky visuals. And now back to amazing Shani, which will take you through here.
Thank you, Eliane. That was great. Okay, so now to our bonus section. The hottest thing right now is AI. Taboola recently launched an exciting new product towards AI-generated creatives. Woo! So and our goal is really to take all of our best practices and secret sauce and craft an advertising message that will resonate with people. So not just matching the right product to the right person, but also finding the right words, imagery, style that will appeal the most. So this is available globally to all advertisers. And so far, since we've launched this product, we are seeing lots of search advertisers leveraging this tool to support their creative angles. So if you haven't tested it just yet, I highly recommend to start testing it. Okay. Okay, so we have, for images, we support two options. We either have image to image or text to image. So you can take one of your successful ad and create an iteration of it, or use our text to image to create new visuals based on a specific product or keyword. We also have a great prompt helper based on our best practices, which you can play with to create the image that works best for you. The second thing that we have is for title generator. We ask the advertiser 3 simple questions in order to make the title messaging more personalized. What services do you offer? What is your target audience? What is your unique selling proposition? And there's also a rephrase option that you can use. So you can take one of your top headlines and rephrase it. This is super helpful for A/B testing or creative fatigue, which we might experience here and there. And as for the near future, where we're heading, we are also working to evolve our image generator to support many other options, as well as developing landing pages based on generative AI, which is super relevant for you guys, especially for related search on content. And what you're seeing here right now is up next on our roadmap. So we also have the Creative Studio in beta, giving advertisers the ability to modify existing images, like changing the background or coloring. So you could take one of your top creatives, which is running for a while, and create an interesting and fresh iteration of it. So great, guys. This was a wrap. First of all, Eliane, thank you so much. This was super helpful and insightful. And before we move into Q&As, I can't stress enough how important your creatives are. Okay, and in general, creative formats. So if you ever start to notice a decrease in VCTRs, that's definitely a signal to start refreshing your creatives. Follow and all the different things that Eliane mentioned here today, using all the different motion ads and CTA buttons. You really want to try and avoid creative fatigue and improve your VCTR, which is essential for helping alleviate your CPCs. And with that, I thank you all for sharing the time to go through this workshop today. And I invite you to share any questions that you may have over to Eliane and me. We don't have a lot of time, but we'll try to take a few questions coming in.
Thank you so much, Anita. That was super interesting. I'm happy to see that we already have quite a lot of questions. I can start by taking a few. So question number 1 was, any guide on GIF versus image, which works better on native? So in general, we have I mean, by GIF we can also call it motion ads. So the I think what I was speaking about is those looped videos, those carousels. And in general, what we do see is that motion ads have a higher CTR. And why is that? Is because they attract more attention. So think about it. When you have a static image, a good static image, if we add a subtle movement, for instance, a zoom in, zoom out, or a small overlay, it immediately catches our eye. So people tend to click on it more. But it's important to really choose the right images. So if if people create these types of GIFs which resemble a banner and they're not that good, something that's too disrupted. So we really recommend, as a good base, to take your top performing images and animate them. And you can do that by using Motion Ad Studio. So really, as I said, take your top performing images and add the zoom in, use a carousel. So you really don't have to go crazy. And the more subtle you're actually doing it, the better. So think about not doing anything too disrupted, something that really looks authentic. So that's a really, really good question. And it's a really quick win, actually. Okay, we have another question. How often should we change the creative in each campaign? So normally our recommendation is to test around 5 creatives each week. It's very important to A/B test properly. Maybe Shani, you can also elaborate more about A/B testing.
Yeah, I think we would say around 3 to 4 creatives, more or less, and definitely mix and match, use, description, and try to make sure that you're using different ads and different creatives, just to make sure that you're really A/B testing correctly.
Awesome. As well, we had a question regarding, for instance, how can Taboola support So the creative shop support normally that we support our clients by helping them every month and a half by, you know, either reviewing what they're doing or by creating ads for them, creating assets for them. So our general recommendation, because you know what Shanice said, is to really refresh every month. So that's the frequency in which we help. But I think most importantly as well, is your access to the assets, to what, you know, to our trends. So we really recommend following with your account manager our new vertical playbooks, bi-quarterly trends that we send. So, you know, we have many times we offer free of charge and, you know, completely open assets or asset creation tools or super interesting data that can be very valuable to you. So really keep in touch with your account manager and ask them to provide them with that. For instance, I can tell you that we have written more or less 5 or 6 vertical playbooks. We have health, we have travel, we have auto, we have finance, we have gaming. So we have these vertical playbooks really include in-depth data such as readership trends, keyword trends, what you write in your CTA button, what images or motion ads are trending. So really, this is the best free service that you can get, which can really help you create unique ads.
Okay, we don't have a lot of time, so we might take like one more question and then we'll finish off. Let's see. Okay, I see one here. I'll take this one. What are some of the common mistakes search advertisers make in their creatives that we should avoid? I would say definitely long headlines. So on Taboola, we're limited to 60 characters. With description, you can go longer, so 150 characters. So definitely make sure that the format is correct, the specs of the image and the headline, but you can definitely use description. It also drives higher VCTR. Also using one CTA instead of various examples like click here, search now, learn more. And another thing that I would say is advertisers are not aware that CTA is translated to local countries, so they're hesitant to use it in non-English markets. So I definitely recommend to use it. Don't be afraid. And since we have a lot of more questions here, we'll make sure that your AMs get back to you with answers. And I guess I would say thank you all for joining us today. And a huge thanks to Eliane for joining me.
Thank you, Shani.
I hope you all enjoyed, and I hope it was knowledgeable for all of you. And see you again soon, hopefully, and Meet the Expert. Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you.